Now, some of the things that businesses can do to help get visibility on Google are as simple as this. You can go through and look at your website content and make sure that it's relevant to what your customers are searching for.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, that brings us through to our favorite, or one of my favorite sessions, and that's where I get to learn from the experts. Tonight's expert is Kyle Meloche. He is from Social Geeks, and Kyle and I have known each other for a while, but we just haven't seen each other for ages. You know, one of those people you meet and then we go off and do our thing, and then we meet sort of like 10 years later. Well, actually, I think it's probably only about 3 or 4 years later. But but we've worked together on projects with clients as well before too. He is an absolute genius when it comes to the space with Google ads and Facebook ads, and he's put together some pretty funky campaigns and some good campaigns. Reason why he's here tonight is just off that back of that conversation I talked about how the landscape's changed in a few short years, and what is available to you as a business owner and someone sort of trying to sort of navigate the social media space and the paid advertising space. Maybe you've been in it before and been burnt by it all. It's just getting so much easier. So I thought this is a great session to have Kyle come on and talk about what's actually happening in this space here. So he is a digital strategist, and he's worked with sort of large companies and small companies really to help them make money, and they've made a lot of money using some of the strategies that Kyle uses. And he's one of the people that is I think one of the good guys in the advertising industry, in that he really does do things that are really for the benefit of the clients, and he's really open, and he talks to clients about what they can do, what they could do, and probably cost themselves some money doing that. But, sort of having that integrity, I think, is one of the things I really like about him. So let's everyone put your hands together and welcome to the stage, Kyle Meloche.
Thank you so much, Nick. That was quite the introduction there. And it's great to be catching up a bit more regularly. As Nick said, so I'm from Social Geeks Digital Agency. I've been managing Facebook, Google Ads, building websites for going on a decade now. So it's been a long road and learning a lot of different things. And I've seen the evolution of it. It's changed a lot in that time. And I think that one of the conversations Nick and I had at the Small Business Expo recently, that I saw Janine at as well, hey Janine, was that I really do think that AI is going to change everything. In the last 6 months alone, we've seen how much AI has been a talking point for business owners, and everyone seems to be already, with all the fantastic tools that Nick has shown tonight, seeing what some of these AI tools can do. What I'm going to talk about today is Google specifically, because they are one of the industry leaders, believe it or not, in AI. They've been researching AI probably the longest out of all of the big tech platforms. And even though they got caught a little bit with their pants down with ChatGPT, they seem to be catching up really fast. And there's a lot of really cool features that they're coming out with and have integrated into the Google Ads platform. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to share my screen. I've got a bit of a presentation to go through. And then I thought I'd do some hands-on kind of training going through Google Ads and just showing you one of their new AI campaigns that they've now launched in Google Ads. I don't know if people are doing Google Ads. I imagine there's probably a few of you that have. Maybe I could just do a quick show of hands or raise of hands of who's running Google Ads in their business at the moment, just to get a poll for the room while I'm sharing my screen here. Yep. Okay. Well, there's Nick. Great. Excellent. It just looks like it's you, man. But I'm hoping that today I'll be able to show you guys how you can set up your own Google Ads. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's with this new AI campaign, really straightforward, I think, for business owners to be able to manage their own Google ads. Like I said to Nick at the expo, I think I'm going to be out of a job in less than 2 years. I really do think that the AI tools will make it so easy for small businesses to manage their own ad campaigns, which, to be honest, I think is a good thing. I think that you should be able to manage your own campaigns, because really all marketing is having a great offer and knowing who you're serving with that offer. If you know who your customer is and you know what problems you're solving for them, you're going to do a good job with your marketing. It really is just all the technical stuff in the background that I think can be a bit challenging. So I'm just going to share my screen. We can dive into this and then we'll just go get started. Let's see if I can get that going. Can everyone see my screen? Is that popping up okay? Excellent. Great. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate the thumbs up. So I'm going to focus a lot on Google because I think that Google is the GPS system for digital marketing and the digital landscape. And when I say GPS, it's not necessarily a global positioning system. It's probably more a global purchasing system. It's the highway that we drive our cars on. It's the billboards on the motorway. It's the compass that we use to kind of find our way around. Literally is Google Maps. So it has covered off all bases in the digital landscape these days. And if we look at the traditional customer journey, this is kind of looking at the digital and physical touch points. You can see that online ads and search engines and email and social media, websites, apps, chat, there's a whole bunch of touch points that people will go through on that customer journey. I like to think that the digital landscape nowadays is more like a web, an interconnected network, rather than a linear journey. But at the middle of that web, we know that Google lives in there. I'm not going to say like a spider, because that does sound maybe a little bit, I don't know, a little bit dark and sinister. But, they like to use spiders to crawl your website. So they picked the term first, maybe. But, they do have pretty much everything covered. If we look at it in terms of the apps that they have pretty much everything covered. They've got Gmail, they've got YouTube, they've got Google Maps, they've got Google Business Profile, they've got Chrome browser, they've got Analytics, Google Drive, Google Play Store. Google pretty much controls, I would say, 90% of the internet, which is kind of scary if you think about it. It's kind of like, look at the Terminator type movies where you have Skynet. It's kind of like Google's a pretty good candidate for that dystopian future that they talked about in Terminator. And I think that as scary as it is, it's also a great opportunity for business owners, because you can get in front of people on Google. There's about 9 billion searches, 9 billion searches per day on Google, which is a lot. There's 3 billion monthly active users on YouTube, which is also Google. And I don't know if you guys know this, but YouTube is the second most used search engine in the world. It's a search engine. People go to YouTube to find answers for questions that they might have. So it's really important to make sure that as business owners, we have a presence on these platforms. And then as well, Google's display or Google's advertising network, they have display ads, which are those, well, I'm going to say annoying ads that follow you all over the internet. They are on 2 million plus websites online and on 650,000 mobile apps. So when you're checking the weather and you see an ad in that weather app, that is a Google ad. If you're on a blog and you're reading through, best marketing tips for your business, and there's an ad, it's probably Google as well. A lot of people don't know that. And I think that that's a really key thing to highlight, that Google's everywhere. And so it's really important for us to know that we need to be using Google in our businesses. So just to sum up, Google, 8 billion searches per day. It has about 92% of the global search engine market. Most of the traffic now is coming through from mobile devices, and Google search is the most visited website in the world. It's still the most common website that we use in our day-to-day lives. I think that Google is so powerful because it has so many different places you can reach your customers. If you're looking at that customer journey, people are generally starting out becoming aware that they have a problem, and then they're becoming interested in solutions to their problems. Then they become kind of like they're deciding on which solution is right for their problem. And then lastly, they're acting on which solution is best for them. And where are they going to go to find that information? Well, when they become aware, they might be on YouTube, they might be searching, they might be reading articles, and Google can cover those all off. When they're becoming interested, they might be emailing their friends or their colleagues, and that's on Gmail. And scarily, Google scans all your emails, so they actually can contextualize the emails that are coming through the Gmail network. There's a reason your Gmail account's free, and it's because Google scans all your emails. Scary, I know. And then as well, when you get into that decision stage, you're looking at reviews and you're looking at blog articles. You're looking at basically like comparisons and doing your research. So Google's there too. And when you act, when you're ready to buy, when you're ready to go ahead with a service, you're doing that through a website most of the time. And Google has Google Analytics on pretty much all websites now. I think I've got a slide next that will talk about it. My Google device just went off. That's so funny. So, there's a lot of different ways that Google can get in front of you. And with websites, there's like 34 million websites that use Google Analytics. So they're there at the very end when you're starting to take that next step. You've decided and you're ready to act, and you're now going to buy a product or service. They see that, they capture that. They know how much you're spending, how long you're spending on the website. They know, if you're leaving stuff in your shopping cart, and they're using that data to profile you and help advertisers reach you right at the right time. I think that for business owners, a really big benefit is that people use Google in all aspects of their lives. They're looking for answers to problems. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for specific products and services. So it is a really important marketing channel for businesses. And we're going to talk through some of the ways that you can use it in your business. I think that unlike social media, it really is more of an intent platform. You know that people, if they're searching for certain things, are showing intent for that product or service. We'll talk about some of the searches as well and how those vary, but the average person uses Google 3 times a day. So on average, your customers, you have three chances to kind of reach them each day if they're searching for your products and services. Now, some of the things that businesses can do to help get visibility on Google are as simple as this. You can go through and look at your website content and make sure that it's relevant to what your customers are searching for. And Nick's already talked about a great way of doing this in terms of the content curation. I think that's a great tool to be able to have relevant content for your audience, for your potential prospects and customers. But as well, not just looking at your website and the content on your website, you can also create a business profile and have a profile of people are searching for you, where people can leave reviews, they can find contact information, they can find a quick way to give you a call, they can send you a message through there. If you're in the trades, you can also set up a request a quote option through there as well. So they're really trying to make that almost like a social media platform for businesses that's tied to your Google platform or to your Google searches. And you can put posts in there. I've put some of my services in there for free audits on your Google ads or free audits on your Facebook ads, as well as some of the services that we provide. So you can actually chuck that stuff in your Google profile for people to find. As well as that, you can use Google Analytics to install on your website and make sure that you know exactly what people are doing on your website. What pages are they going to? How long are they spending there? Where are people dropping off? Are they taking the conversion actions that you want them to take? So are they buying your products? Are they adding to their shopping cart? Where are they dropping off in that customer journey through your website? And with Google Search Console, you can also see what are people searching to find you. How often are you popping up on Google search? You can see the back end of Google and really kind of crawl through it to make sure that you know what's happening with your business and the people that are searching to find you. These are all free tools, guys. They're really great tools. I recommend them for any business owner because why not use them? It really is a great way to measure things and understand what's working and what's not, as well as making sure that you're being seen and that your customers, as they're trying to navigate through the customer journey to hopefully at the end point, your business and buy with you, they're able to find you easily. There's nothing worse than when you're trying to find a business and you can't because they're not listed properly online or for whatever reason. I don't think it happens very much these days, I'd hope, but there's nothing worse than when you're trying to find somebody and you just cannot find their contact details. You're like, where is this person? Are they trying to hide from me? I don't know what's going on. So Google's really important to make sure that you're making it as easy as possible for people to find you using the Google GPS system. In terms of your business tools, I just went through a bunch of them. I think that making sure that your business profile is set up is a really important one, because this plugs into so many different places. It plugs into Google Search, it plugs into Google Maps, and it can also plug into your Google Ads account, so that if you're a local business and you want more foot traffic, you can advertise so that you come up at the top of Google Maps for your industry. You can actually say to Google, I want to target searches that are for these keywords, or, you know, it might be restaurants near me, cafe near me, or it could be a plumber near me, you know, whatever it is that you do and your services, you can actually say, I want to target this, and make sure that your listing is coming up at the very top. I believe it's the top 2 places on Google Maps, which is really, really cool. I have a real estate agent who came on as a client recently, and she's like, I don't know how, but this guy's always at the top of Google Maps. I don't understand. And I screenshotted it and showed her. It says sponsored. Do you see that in the little text there? That means that he's paying to get there, which is great, because it means you can do that too. So there's definitely a lot of ways where Google is kind of giving you a shortcut. You know, you have to pay for it, of course, but you're giving you a shortcut to be able to get to those top positions, which is where we all want to be. And SEO is important to do, but it's also hard to get there, and it can take months. If you have some really cool AI tools from Nick that might help you in getting to those top places, you know, I think those are great to use. And, you know, something to just point out on a side note, Google doesn't know what is AI content and what's not. So using AI tools is all good to go. Just don't spam the hell out of Google, okay? Don't do like 600 blog articles a week, because that will absolutely tell Google that you are cheating. But you can use these tools to create content as long as it's relevant to your audience, as long as it's helping them in that process. I think you're good to go. So there's a lot of really cool ways with Google that you can help get out there more. And I think that they're only going to get more and more user-friendly, I guess, for small business owners. Just think about how many people you had to have in your team even 5 years ago, let alone 10 or 15 years ago, just to create content and, you know, do your website and be able to create content and all of the stuff that now we can do with almost a click of a button with AI, or, you know, like Nick was showing us, you know, using Canva tools. You know, we didn't have those types of tools 10 years ago. You had to use Photoshop. You had to be a graphic designer. You know, you had to be a web developer to be able to do a lot of the stuff that now AI is just able to do in an instant, which is really scary, but also, you know, great for small business owners. I think the big one that I want to make sure that everyone's using is Google Analytics. I just started working with a new client, and they shared their website. I was going to go through, do an audit, and I noticed it didn't have Google Analytics. And I was like, what's going on here? They were like, oh yeah, no, we use this other tool called Jetpack. And I'm like, why would you not use a free tracking tool to help understand what's going on your website? Like, Jetpack's fine, but have a few different ways of doing it. Google Analytics is great because it will not only tell you what people are doing on their website, but it also integrates with Google Ads. It also integrates with so many different tools. And you can use it to track your email campaigns and a whole bunch more. So most marketing platforms nowadays, even sales platforms, CRMs, they're all generally using Google Analytics for tracking data. And you can see that as of March 2023, there's 37 million websites that are using Google Analytics now. So I would say it's definitely the industry leader, if not the dominator in the industry for tracking things. And what it can help you in as a business owner is tracking not only like the number of people coming to your website, but where are they coming from? Where are you getting your customers? And this is really important because you want to know if you're spending money on anything, right? And related to your marketing, you want to know where those people are coming from and if that's working. You want to be able to track the effectiveness of any SEO work you're doing. Even if it's you with AI writing your articles, you want to know which articles are working. And if you're doing paid ads or PPC campaigns, you want to know which one's actually generating traffic. And it's not just traffic. You want to know, are they clicking on my contact form? You know, are they going through and clicking on my products? Are they buying things? You want to know everything that's going on your website. So show of hands, I know, again, I'm just asking for a bit of a poll here. How many of you are using Google Analytics already in your business? Is this kind of like common sense stuff, or you can do the raise a hand button? I'm just curious to see from you guys who's using it. All right, so maybe not as many as I thought, but, you know, still excellent. Thank you, Peter. That's great. I definitely think Google Analytics is, I thought, you know, very common, but if you're not using it, that's not a problem. It's very easy to get on your website. You don't need to be a web developer or rocket scientist to be able to install this. There's a lot of really easy plugins that exist now. I know Shopify, WordPress, they all have really easy to use plugins to help get Google Analytics installed. But this would be the number one thing I think as a business owner that you could do alongside setting up your business profile. So I'm going to move forward. Those are kind of the basics, guys. So the first one is setting up your business profile. The second one is using Google Analytics and looking at your website. And the third one, we got there in the end, is Google Ads. Google Ads is a really easy way to get at the top of your search and see what works in terms of certain search phrases and just basically targeting your ideal audience and drive them through to your website. Now, it used to be kind of like Google Search, Google Shopping, and Google Display, but they've really evolved a lot more placements. So I'm going to talk through the AI campaign, which I might even show you how to set that up, because I really do think you can set it up yourself and you'll be able to run it and manage it, making sure that you're checking in on it on a regular basis, but you should be able to kind of manage things once you've got it set up yourselves and get some good results from it as well. We've been testing it for a while now with different clients against the manual way of running campaigns versus AI's way. And the AI way is absolutely smashing it. It's doing so well for pretty much every industry that we've tested it in, whether it's lead generation, whether it's e-commerce, whatever, even if it's just, educational, trying to get the word out there, it can do pretty much everything across the board, which is really exciting. I think that advertising can be great because you can see behind the curtain of what people are searching to find you. So this is a great tool if you guys haven't heard of it before. Again, you can get this for free by setting up a Google Ads account, which is also free if you're not spending any money. You're able to go to the keyword planner. You can put in your website and say, Google, show me what keywords are coming up that people are searching to find me. And it will show you not only like the list of different keywords, it might be 500 keywords, or, in this example, there's 621 keyword ideas for digital marketing, but it will also show you the average monthly search volume. So in here, I can see that there's, for digital marketing, about 12,000 average monthly searches in Australia for the term digital marketing. But it also shows me a whole bunch of different combinations of those words. And I can see that, roughly speaking, there's about 40 to maybe 80,000 monthly searches on a varying basis. So sometimes you'll see things really, really linear. Sometimes you'll see it going up. Sometimes you'll see it going down. And other times you'll see it on a seasonal basis where it really spikes. Like if it's a holiday home rentals, you'll see it spike during the summer and go down during the winter. So it's a great thing to look at, especially for your industry. And I really recommend it. If you've never tried this out, you can set up a free Google Ad account, go into the keyword planner, and you can look at what does Google say my website is kind of ranking, or what keywords, does my website rank for, and what are the volume of those keywords. This is great because as a marketer or as a business owner, you really want to know essentially what are people searching to find me, and more importantly, how many searches are there? Because you don't want to waste time on keywords that are completely, there's nobody searching for that. If you are writing articles all about a topic where there's 10 searches on average per month, you're wasting your time. You may as well be going out on the street and handing out flyers. I really do think that you want to target keywords that have generally a higher average monthly search volume and are relevant to your business. So this is a great one. I'll give you a few other great tools that Google has as well. There's one that you can actually spy on your competitors to see what ads they're running, which we'll look at in a second too. So Google's really important, and that's probably the biggest platform that everybody knows Google for. I think that Google Ads, all the tools we've gone through, it all comes back to Google Search because of how frequently it's used in people's day-to-day lives. So let's talk through it a bit more. I wanted to cover this off. So this is the AI browser. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but this is what's coming to Google very, very soon. Essentially, they're changing Google Search altogether. And if you're a beta tester, you can actually use this right now on Chrome. But essentially, when you type in a search, you're going to have an AI answer at the top, and you can speak back and forth to it. So you'll have a kind of a chat bot there that will give you a summary from the internet, and you can ask follow-up questions. So for this example, can you get stains out of marble? It shows you some solutions straight away. And then you can chat back and forth to be like, it's this particular type, or it's this type of stain. It could be a wine stain or whatever it is. And it will show you the first 3 listings at the very top as well. Now, Google's kind of sharing how they're going with this, but for me, again, it's crazy to think how much things have changed in the last 6 months, because this is completely changing the way that they now rank things on Google. You think about how it's been like, 10 results on Google on the first page, and it's been like that for 20 years. And now all of a sudden they've got AI in the first page. They don't know how they're going to rank these different articles. And if, what's it going to show? If this AI is pulling all this information from the internet, where is it going to link in those websites? So it's a big change, a really big change. But again, exciting. You've just got to adapt with the times. And I think that that's why Google's got in their AI campaigns for Google Ads. So let's go through some of the search types quickly, and then we'll talk about the ads a bit more. Now, if you're an old school marketer, or if you're a marketer in general, you'll know that there's a marketing funnel where at the top, generally you'll have generic search terms. You're going to have people who are just searching for things and they don't really know what they're looking for. The next step down, you're kind of looking more niche, where people are like, I'm looking for this particular thing. I'm trying to get more information about this. I'm interested in this topic. And then further down, for us business owners, or targeted searches would be your competitors or other brands that they're interested, but they're not looking for you. So those are searches that we definitely do recommend targeting, which I know some people might think is a bit unethical, but I think it's all part of the game of advertising. And at the bottom are your brand keywords. So that's where people are actively searching for you, and you want to make sure that you come up at the top. You should come up at the top, but sometimes you might have competitors who are bidding on your keywords. I don't know who would do that. That's terrible. So those are some of the searches that we would generally look and kind of categorize for Google Ads. But there's so many different ways you can use Google Ads, and I really want to cover off some of the benefits first. So if you haven't done Google Ads before, the first benefit is that you don't pay unless somebody clicks on your ad. So you can actually some campaigns get thousands, if not tens of thousands of impressions, people seeing their ads before they even pay for a click, which is pretty cool. I guess, it's good for brand awareness at least. You can also set flexible budgets. So you could say, look, I'm just wanting to test this out. I'm just going to spend $5 a day. You can start as low as that. I generally recommend a good starting point to be about $20 a day, because you do want to kind of cast a wider net. But you can start with, $5 a day, $10 a day, and you still get traffic, still get brand awareness, still get, impressions, and potentially get sales as well. You can also target your audiences based on not just demographics, but also if they're in the market for something. I'm going to show you that when we go through the campaigns. One thing that I like to do in ads is kind of go, what are people searching in the market for this client? So it might be they're looking for financial advisors or something, or they're looking for to buy a home. You can actually see a category of targeting they're in the market to buy a house, or they're in the market to find financial services, that type of thing. And you can also measure things really quickly. So using Google Analytics, using all the tracking that we talked about before, you can make sure that you know exactly when somebody clicks on an ad, which ad they clicked on, which search terms they searched, and then what actions they took on your website. Now, you're not going to know who the person is per se, because Google does keep this anonymous, but you can see pretty much everything else. How long they spent on your website, how many pages they went to, how many products they looked at, how many products they added to their cart, where they dropped off in the shopping stages, or if they bought the product, how much did they spend? So it's really, really measurable. And that's why I love digital marketing, because you can say, for every dollar you're spending on ads, here's how many dollars you're making in sales, or here's how many leads you got, here's how much ROI you were able to obtain. And I think that that's how a business should run. If you don't know the numbers, and if you don't measure it, you can't improve it. So it's a really good thing to do, is to measure everything across the board. Now we've reached the point where I want to talk about AI, because it is the hottest, or the newest kid on the block, let's say. Google Performance Max is the campaign type that I've been talking about. So I think that this is a great place. If you've never done Google advertising before, this is a great place to start. And the reason for that is because it's kind of doing everything for you, and it can reach your customers across all different placements at the right times. And it will take your creative, so your images, your text, your videos, and it will combine them into an ad that best serves that person where they're at. So this is where AI gets into the equation. Let's say that you pick your campaign goal, and let's say it's sales. You want more sales into your business, or you want more leads. That's probably a good goal for us business owners. What you would say is, here's the goal. Here's the location I want to target. here are the signals that I want to give you for what would be the right audience. So that could be people who have searched for digital marketing services, or that could be somebody who's searched for particular terms. And then you give Google the creative assets. So you give them some banners with, your content on it, some images. You can give some video content as well. And you can give them a bunch of different like headlines, text, and text descriptions. And as well, you can also link in your products if you sell products online. So this is through Google Merchant. Now, those are the things that you give it. And then what it does is it uses machine learning or AI to optimize your campaign that you've set, and it will reach the target audience based off whatever platform they're on if they're looking for things. So if they're on YouTube searching, for what should I look for in a digital marketing agency, or what are questions I should ask, and people are watching videos on YouTube, your ads will pop up there because they're showing that they're interested in these things. They're in your target market, and your creative will pop up at that place and time. Let's say that they're on Google Maps and they're searching for, I don't know, it could be plumbers near me, just to use a different business. Well, then your ad will pop up there because Google's Performance Max is using AI to find the right place at the right time based off the audience that you've said you want to target. Not only is it Google Maps and YouTube, but obviously Google Search is a big one, and the display network as well. So I mentioned it at the beginning, there's like 2 million websites that display Google ads. So you can reach your target market on those websites when they're reading through blogs, or they're comparing different providers, or whatever it is that they're doing online. You can make sure that your ads are being placed in front of them. It's a really, really powerful way to use Google Ads. And it makes it so easy nowadays to be able to kind of go, here are the audience that I want to target. Here's the goals that I'd like to achieve. And here are my ads. And you just let Google do the rest, which is, again, amazing for small business owners, because it really does mean that you can just let it run, see how the results are going. And as long as you're able to measure your ROI and you're able to measure all the data, you should start seeing results coming through. Now, Google says for Performance Max campaigns, it takes about 6 weeks for it to optimize, which is quite a long amount of time. But if you're spending $10 a day, that's $600 all up. The good news is that Google also gives you $600 credit if you've not spent ads before, and you spend $600 in your first 2 months. So you could kind of test it out, $10 a day, 2 months, you get another $600 credit from Google, which I think is, a pretty good incentive. So this is the campaign, guys, that I recommend we try setting up for you guys, because this is something that I think every business should be running just for brand awareness, let alone, getting conversions. I think conversions are definitely a good thing to get, and that you should be optimizing for sales or leads or whatever it is in your business. But if you're getting brand awareness on YouTube, on Google Maps, on 2 million websites potentially, and you're targeting your ideal target market, it seems like a no-brainer. You might spend $600 just to have a small section in a local magazine, let alone being able to reach potentially tens of thousands of people that are your target market. I think Google is great, and obviously I'm biased, but I do think that they're making it easier and easier for small business owners to succeed. And this campaign I've tested with hundreds of different businesses, and it is working so well. I've used this for real estate. I've used this for local stores. I've used this for e-commerce brands. Everyone across across all these different industries shows that this performs better than trying to do a manual campaign. Even if you have like the best marketer in the world, it's still actually performing better because Google's AI just knows where those people are at the right time. And if you're saying, I want purchases, it will find the person who's ready to purchase. So that's one that I think is really cool. The other thing that you can do with AI is dynamic ads. And there's actually a new feature that Google have just launched, which basically it rewrites your ads and can even redo your images based on where that customer's at in the purchasing process. So if they're just starting out, your ads will be a lot softer in their approach. If they're now ready to buy, your ads will be a lot more focused on click here to buy type of thing. And it's very dynamic. So this dynamic ad type it's been around for a long time, but I couldn't find much information to put into my presentation on the AI thing. They've only just announced it at the end of July. But essentially dynamic campaigns are when you say to Google, here's my website, or here's a URL to one of my products or one of my services, and it will essentially be able to create dynamic ads for you so that it will swap out the products based on whichever the person's searching, and it will give them the right page from your website. It will also be able to rewrite your ads and kind of say, if it's Google ads for one search, it will change the ad to say the best Google ads agency in Brisbane. And then if they're searching for Facebook ads, they can swap that as well in the ad to show them the right page on your website, as well as show, the best Facebook ads agency in Brisbane. So I think that's a really amazing AI initiative or machine learning, dynamic type of tool. And they're only getting better at that. There's a new feature that's coming through as well. Now, for all you folk that sell products, Google Shopping should be a no-brainer for selling online. Essentially, you can connect your website up to Google using Google Merchant, and then you can advertise your products. If people search for protein powder, you pop up at the top alongside other competitors who are advertising as well, of course. But it doesn't just show the listing, it shows the product, it shows your reviews if you have product reviews, and it shows the price and a clickable link. I find Google Shopping generally returns very strong. It's actually a very high ROI campaign type. And the beauty of it is that Google Performance Max has incorporated Google Shopping as well. So if you do sell products or even services that meet their Google Shopping criteria, you can list these automatically from your website. They go into Google Shopping, and Performance Max with their AI can help place that in front of Google searches and people looking for things on Google Shopping. Now, we talked about 2 million websites and 650,000 mobile apps. These are the ads that people see that kind of will pop up, big, beautiful banners with a button on it and a bit of text. Display ads are great because you can get so much brand awareness. For $600, you can get in front of potentially hundreds of thousands of people because they generally have a much lower click-through rate. And that means that you'll get a lot of impressions before somebody clicks, and the cost per click will be quite low. The Google Display Network reaches about 90% of the entire internet, which is insane. So everybody can kind of see these ads. I'm sure you guys have gone shopping before online and had an item chase you around for the next 7 days. Those are generally Google ads, and those are display ads. Now, when those ads do chase you around, I was going to skip forward a little bit. When they do kind of chase you around, this is what we call retargeting or remarketing. So the way that works is somebody will visit your website, they'll then leave your website, and then you can advertise to them. And this is a really proven method to help squeeze more blood out of the stone, I guess, and make sure that people who have visited your page or shopped your products or your services, they're not just being left to never come back again. You want to, how many of us know that people who visit your website are generally pretty interested, but maybe they're just busy. You don't want to just give up on somebody who's walked into your store and not bought anything. You want to make sure that you've talked to them and you've understood what their needs are, and that if you could, you want to reach out to them again. So retargeting ads are a very effective way to make sure you're getting in front of people before they just forget about you altogether. And generally they have to see your ads. Sounds a bit spammy, but 6 to 7 times is generally kind of the sweet point for making sure that people actually see your ad. So it definitely is a really effective way to reach your audience. Now, this is one of my favorites because I think video is everything nowadays. So YouTube is a really effective way to be seen. I know with Gen Z especially, I think it's about 40% of Gen Z use YouTube for over an hour a day. It's one of the top channels nowadays in the world. 3 billion monthly active users are on YouTube. So I know video is a scary thing for a lot of people, but it's a very powerful and effective way to reach your audience. You don't have to use video to advertise on YouTube. You can have kind of those little ads, I don't know if you can see this very well here, but Shopify is advertising here, and you can kind of have ads that pop up at the top of search results as well. So just like you have on Google, those first few spots are reserved for ads. You can do the same thing on Google. So if people are searching on YouTube, if people are searching on YouTube, you can have a text-based ad there or an image-based ad as well. So there is a lot of value, I think, to also advertising on YouTube for a business. And these are, again, covered off by Performance Max, that wonderful AI tool that you guys can use for your small business that we're going to run through shortly. So we're pretty much at the end of all the different placements that you could use for Google. But there's one more. I don't know if many people have apps that they use in their business, or apps that they're pushing out there to their customers. But you can also make sure that if you do have an app, you can advertise it. You can get that out there, not just on Google search, but on the Google Play Store. So worth mentioning. Don't know if there's many people who have apps. I know that they're maybe a bit out of a lot of our reach, but it's good to point out that. All right, so we've come to the end of the presentation. What I thought, if we had a bit of time left, I'd kind of walk you through how you can set up these campaigns, because I do think that at least a lot of the feedback I get from clients and just people in general is that Google seems a little bit daunting, and they're kind of like, oh, look, I understand Facebook ads. I can put together an ad there, but Google, I just don't know. And so I wanted to dispel the fear altogether and walk you guys through a very quick demonstration. Nick, how are we going for time, man? I know that we probably do need to wrap.
Yeah, good as gold. Everyone want to sort of see how to set one up? Just give us a thumbs up if you'd like that there. Yep. Okay. So we're getting some thumbs up. So yep, let's do that. That'd be great.
All right, fantastic. All right, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen here. Is that popping up? Can you guys see my screen here?
Can see that.
Awesome. Great. So I'm in Google Ads at the moment. Now I've skipped a few steps ahead here, but this is just a demo account that I've set up for our demonstrations tonight. Fingers crossed that it all works. Sometimes with, these new accounts, things go a bit awry, but I've gone ahead and jumped into my Google Ads account, and I'm just in the section where you can set up a new campaign. So if I click new campaign and go
through. Lost it there, Kyle. We can just.
Oh, really?
Let's give it a go together. There we go. We're back.
Yeah, I clicked full screen, guys. So sorry about that. Thanks, Nick, for letting me know. Otherwise, that would have been a very boring presentation. So I'm in the campaign section of Google Ads. And setting up a new account, guys, takes like 2 seconds. It's very easy to do. You just go to ads.google.com and set up your account. It'll just ask for your business info, ask for a few details, and you're away laughing. So it definitely doesn't take too long to get to this stage. But once you're inside, you want to go to the campaigns section and click new campaign. The first thing Google always asks you is, what is your objective? What would you like to achieve with Google Ads? In my instance, leads would be great. Sales would also be good, but you can go for website traffic, brand awareness and reach, and a whole bunch more. If you have a brick and mortar store, local shop visits and promotions can be a great campaign to run. And then as well, if you're looking at any of these other things, product and brand consideration can also be a good one. What I'm going to focus on is leads, because I think this is a good one to select. What it will do is ask if you have conversion goals. So conversions are anything on your website that you want to track and tell Google, this is what I want you to try to get me more of. So for me, purchases on my website would be fantastic. It's not giving me any lead options. So maybe I should swap that over to purchases here, and we'll continue. But you do need to set this up before you start Google Ads. This all lives in your Google Analytics, guys. So if you do want to go through that, I've got a few videos on YouTube that kind of walk through this as well. But you'll set up your conversion goals in Google Analytics. These could be leads on your website. So somebody filling out a form. They could be somebody purchasing a product from your website. But generally, this is a step that you do need to go through. So I'm going to select purchases, and we're going to continue through here. So once I've confirmed my goals, which is purchases, Google's going to say, great, here are your options. Here are the menu of campaigns that you can set up on Google. And the AI one that I've been talking about is this Performance Max campaign. The reason for this is that it basically says, give me your content and who you want to reach, and I'll do the work for you. And that's really what you want these days, is you kind of do want to use the tools that, all these great AI tools that Nick's recommending, you want to use them to help you save time and get better results. And I've tested this for you guys. It is a fantastic platform or channel that I'm seeing amazing results on. So basically what it does is it reaches the right audiences for your goal. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And it also helps create those ads for you. So I'm going to select Performance Max. I'm just going to give this a name. For this, I'm just going to say Google Ads example. And click continue. Now it's saying, hey, you did a draft before, which I did. Before this, I set up a campaign. So it's pretty good. It said, would you like to continue with this? And you know what? Maybe I will, because that might save me a bit of time finding all the images and things. And I promise I'll walk you through it. It doesn't take long to kind of go through this process. Now, the first thing it's going to ask you when you've selected the performance max is, well, okay, so you've got a few different options here. Do you want to optimize your campaign just to find new customers? Now, if you're in a business where you have one customer and they never buy from you again, you probably do want to optimize for acquiring new customers. But to begin with, I don't think, if you've never advertised before, I don't think you need to tick any of these options. If you know what your target cost would be, if you have a set CPA or cost per acquisition for your customers that you already know in your business, you can set that here. So for me, I might say that for a lead, I don't want to spend more than $10, for example. Now that might be, hugely optimistic, but you'll hopefully have your own numbers. And if you don't, again, I'd recommend just leaving it blank. But for those of you who are numbers people and you already do know what your target CPA would be, then you can chuck that in there. And what Google will do is work its magic to keep it at that price as best as it can. Something that I would note, to a word to the wise, if you put a target cost in there, Google will not spend money unless it absolutely thinks it's going to get that target price. So sometimes I've seen people be like, yep, cool, I don't want to spend more than $10. And then they're like, my ads aren't running. I'm like, yeah, because you said to Google, you want a $10 cost per sale. And, that's just not possible because Google's just going to say no. So let's remove that. Let's see where it ends up. And then we can set a realistic cost per acquisition once we have a bit of data to go through. So to begin with, leave everything blank here and you can move forward. I just wanted to explain that just to make sure that you guys knew what that was. Then the next step is you want to tell Google where you want to target. So for me, I don't want to target all of Australia. I'd rather go a bit more specific. I work with a lot of clients in Brisbane, in the Gold Coast, in the Sunshine Coast, and I do like to actually get a bit of face-to-face time in if I can. So, if I'm going to Perth, it's a bit far. So having a target location of Brisbane, Gold Coast, and Sunshine Coast, I've put those locations in, and that's the audience I want to target. The next one is languages. So these are no-brainers, guys. I'm sure that you guys understand how this all works, but you can put in the languages. If you do have other languages that you'd like to target, by all means, go for it. We've got some amazing Filipinos in the audience today. So maybe we want to target Filipino as well. But we'd be able to kind of select those and make sure, or Thai, perhaps, I don't know, for you Thai folk. I don't know if you speak much Thai, but you could put that in there as well. Now, we're just going to go next because I think a lot of this is a little bit boring and a little bit self-explanatory. What I'm going to move on to now is the fun part. Now, I did pre-fill this so that we wouldn't have an absolute blank one to go with, but what you can see here is where you're building all of your ads. And what Google will ask you for is, give me all of the headlines that explain your offer and your business that you'd like us to use. Give us some images that we can generate ads for. Give us your logo and any videos that you have. And we're going to show you what those will look like across YouTube, Gmail, Google Search, Display, and Discover. So you can see these starting to pop up. These are some of the ads that, look, they're not amazing. I put them together in 5 minutes before the presentation, so please don't judge. But these are kind of the way that Google will show you what you can expect to see on Google. So you want to know what it's going to look like in order to make sure that it's designed right and that nothing looks terrible. So it's a good way to be able to preview that and start playing around with things. Now, another great thing is that it will tell you if this ad is written well or if it's not. And it even gives you suggestions. If you go to put in a headline, it will start writing some of this for you to kind of say, here are some combinations of different existing ads that you could run. And you just want to put these in. Now, best practice for this is to generally put in, well, I guess as much content as you can. You're able to put in about 15 headlines, which is a lot. I get that. But it means that what Google will do is combine together the best performing headlines with the best images, with the best descriptions, and create an ad that is getting you the results you want. So it will place those on Google Search. It'll place those on YouTube. It'll place those all over the Google digital landscape, and it will reach your target audience when they're ready to buy. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Does anybody have any questions? Maybe just quickly open to the chat just to make sure that I'm not flying through this too fast. I'll make sure that I've got the chat open as well. Feel free, guys, to ask any questions that you might have. Just making sure that I've
I
got
was just thinking, Kyle, that presumably you could use Chat GPT or the likes to generate some of these headlines and descriptions.
Yes, absolutely.
Make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I've actually put together a how to use ChatGPT course for small business owners. And I talk about how to write Google headlines and ad copy, because ChatGPT is great for that. It really is. I think if you write what, like in the past method, which is what's the problem that you help solve? How do you align yourself with that problem? And then how do you solve that problem? If you can write ads like that, that it works 10 times better than anything else. So definitely ChatGPT can be a great tool for that. And all you have to say to it is write me 15 headlines for Google Ads about this topic that are less than 30 characters, and just watch the magic happen. So once you've got your ads written, guys, you've come up with all of this amazing content, you've worked with ChatGPT, the next thing you want to do is tell Google who you want to reach. And they call this their audience signals. So very down the bottom here, where it's all hidden away, they have an audience signal. And again, I've gone ahead and built one just so that we can quickly go through it together. What I do, guys, is I always name things the same. So I try to use a good naming convention. With this audience, I do kind of the ASL method. So age, sex, and then location. So I'm targeting people who are, let's say, 45 and plus, male, female, based in Queensland, and people who are interested in Google Ads and business owners. Now, when you're building an audience in Google, you can choose a few different things. The first one is you can create a custom segment based on their search activity. So this could be people searching, how do I set up Google Ads? Or should I be using Google Ads for my business? Or they might have visited websites. A good one would be, I want to target people who've visited all of my competitors' websites. Or if you're a real estate agent, I want to target people who visited realestate.com.au or domains.com.au. And you can pop that in here to kind of say, here are the types of segments I want to target. So for example, you can target people who have searched different Google search terms, or they have an interest or a purchase intention for different products. So it could be that, for example, I'll just exit out of this and go into the one that I've got here. So I did one that's on Google Ads, and I said, what I want to do is I want to target people who have searched for terms such as how to learn Google Ads, how to use Google Ads, how to earn money from Google Ads, how to create Google Ads, how to earn from Google Ads, and how to do Google Ads. So just for the demonstration, those are some of the search terms that I thought would be relevant for an ad trying to find people who are interested in Google Ads management services. Google is pretty smart. It will also show you that in Australia, about 59% of the people who are searching these things are male, and a lot of them are in the 20 to 35 kind of age group. So I guess a bit younger, but that kind of gives you an indication of who you're targeting with these types of searches. Now, the next thing here is that you're able to say to Google as well, I want to find people who have either purchased from my website before or anybody who's visited my website before. And Google's not going to just target those people, but at least it will know what that person is and will help find more people relevant to that. So it's a great way to kind of give your Google campaign a bit of context to say, here are some people that have visited my website. I'd like to target them as well as people similar to them. These are great to kind of target. I generally don't target people who've purchased, because unless you want them to buy something from you again, you might be wasting your money. So it's a good idea to unselect people who've purchased, but people who visited your website, sure, that's fine, because generally, about 2 to 5% of people who visit your website will actually purchase. So you want to make sure you're targeting the other 95 to 98%. Now, where the magic really happens, I think, is in this next section. I'll just cover this off, guys, and then we're done. But this section here is I think the most powerful thing about Google Ads and this AI stuff. What you can do here is you can target people based on their interests, their life events, or their detailed demographics. So what does that mean? Well, I'm just going to expand this down so you can see it a bit better, hopefully. But I want to find people who are in the market for services related to my business. And like I said to you before, there's a way that you can say, I want to find people who are in the market for advertising and marketing services. And I don't know if you guys can read this very well, so I'll read it out to you, but it shows that these are people who have searched on YouTube or have searched online or reading any type of like marketing, brand management, public relations services, things like that. They're reading articles, they're going to websites in relation to this, and they've shown a high intent to make a decision around purchasing these services. So if you run a business and you could tell Google, I want to find people who are about to purchase my type of services, this is the way that you can target them. And Google will be able to find that and place your ads in front of them when they're researching different agencies or they're researching different businesses on YouTube or on Google. And they've got so many folks, they've got so many different things that you can go through. For example, with in-market, you can see that they have things like they're in the market to buy apparel or accessories. They're in the market to buy arts and craft supplies. They're in the market to buy vehicles or children's products or personal care products. And each of these have more information in there that you can expand. If you're in the IT sector and you want to know people who are in the market to buy a computer or people who are looking for repairs, you can put that in here as well. And you should be able to find people who are actively looking for these things. So this is great in terms of being able to really hone in on people at the right stage when they're actually searching for your services. So going through this can be really fun, at least for geeks like me. You can really drill down and have a look and see, okay, if you're a travel agent or you work in tourism, I want to find people who are in the market to book in, air travel based in my city or really niche it down. So the in-market, I think, is a really exciting one. As you can tell, I'm getting very passionate about this. But as well, you can also target things like life events. So for example, they've just started a business. This can be a really good one as well. They're recently started a business or starting a business soon. Let's say that you're a plumber and you're trying to target people, people who are looking to renovate a home soon. That's a great one for a plumber or somebody or a builder or anyone who would want to find people who are about to do a bathroom reno or something along those lines, a kitchen reno. You can find people who have recently changed jobs or are about to, they're looking for new jobs or they've just started a new job. And you can find people who have recently been married, they've recently moved, they've got a new pet. I do Google ads for a vet in Perth. And, this category is great to kind of target people for, the old snip snip for the poor puppies and cats that need to be desexed. This is a great one to kind of target and make sure that people know, hey, you can, work with this veterinary clinic for your new puppy, your new cat. So there's a lot of things in here, a lot of great targeting that you can use. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Google has about 1,300 times more data per person than any other social media platform combined. Facebook doesn't have anything on Google, and neither does TikTok or Pinterest or any of these other platforms. Google is the king of the online world, and you can really, really drill down and target people. So I'm going to close this all off and just click save. And just like that, guys, in less than 15 minutes, we've set up an AI optimized campaign for Google Ads to help us find relevant customers for our businesses. I hope that this is helpful, but I realize I've flown through this. So if you are feeling really overwhelmed and I've just gone way too fast, I totally understand. You're more than welcome to reach out to me personally. I love talking about this stuff, if you can't tell already. So I'm more than happy to chat with you one-on-one. Feel free to DM me, or I'm sure I'll be able to put some details in the post that's going to go out just to kind of say how you can reach out to me. But this stuff, I think, I like to think, getting easier and easier. And I hope that today you've learned how you can use Google Ads to get your business out there in front of as many people as possible who are all ready to go for your business. The last thing that you need to do in this campaign is set your budget. And like I said, we can start at $10 a day, or maybe not $1 a day, $10 a day. It will tell you that, hey, you need to spend more because Google always likes more money, but you can leave it at $10 and your campaign's good to go. So that is a campaign published using AI in Google. I hope that you guys enjoyed that and that was helpful in some way. I'm going to go back to my lovely presentation just to click on the last slide here. The main takeaways really was use the Google's free tools, make sure that you have Google Analytics, make sure that you're using Google Business Profile, and try tracking all the results you can. Make sure that you know what's happening. Once you've done all that, I think it's a good idea to experiment with Google Ads, even if it is $10 a day. It's hopefully less than you'd spend on a print local kind of directory, and you might get a lot more results from it. So once you've done all that, you're going to get found online with Google. Those are basically all the talking points I think that I wanted to cover off tonight. So That's all, folks. Really appreciate Nick for letting me speak about Google. You can tell I'm a real geek when it comes to this stuff, and I love talking about it. So thank you everyone for listening, and would love to ask if anybody has any questions.
Excellent. Thanks, Kyle. We do have a couple of questions in chat here. One from Anna, who says, does Google do the split tests for you in those ads?
That's a great question. Yeah. So Google essentially now takes care of all the creative split testing. They do have some experiments that you can still do with the Performance Max, but essentially all of the different kind of ad text combinations, you can leave that to Google, which I know is a bit of a nerve-wracking thing to do. A lot of us, or at least I know that I really struggled to let go of that control. But yeah, it does show that Google is pretty good at being able to kind of take care of all the split testing. They are bringing in some split tests for Google Performance Max, so you can split test different URLs, different landing pages and things. But by and large, it's pretty much trust Google. We know what's best, which again is kind of scary, but it's worked out pretty well so far.
Excellent. And another one for Paul said, how many terms can you use? So that was when setting up the ads.
Yeah.
So is there a maximum, I guess?
Not really, to be honest, Paul. Like, you can chuck in as many terms as you like. Some of the campaigns we've set up, it's actually scary how much you can put in there. You kind of go through it, you're like, this is too much. But I think that Google does like to have more data to work with when you're setting up your audience signals. So I would say that it's better to start very broad, and that way you're giving Google plenty of information, and it will help find the best audience based off those terms. So I don't think there's a limit. I mean, you can push it and let me know if you find one. But in my experience, I haven't found an actual hard limit where it's like you've reached the max keywords that you can put in there.
So presumably things like your images, you need to create your images. So that's where something like Canva comes in handy.
Exactly.
You can sort of do the creatives and that side of things, but hard to get to good AI images these days.
Very true. Yeah.
I have seen some that have come through with people with 6 fingers and all sorts of weird things. So that'll only get better anyway.
I was joking with you, Nick, before the call that I tried to put together some new headshots using AI. I thought, hey, why not? I'll try an experiment with this. And it came back with my teeth in my lips. It was very strange. I was like, this still has a long way to go.
So I think if we stick with ChatGPT to generate some of the headlines and that sort of thing, is probably actually you can use Canva to do that as well. So if you're in the Canva tool, you can use Magic Write, and that will actually do your headlines and all that sort of thing as well. That's pretty cool as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've tried a lot of different AI copywriting tools. I think that ChatGPT is pretty good. The GPT-4. I've tried Google Bard for like writing ad copy, and it's not great. Canva's okay. Like Canva's not bad, but I still prefer, I think, ChatGPT for now, at least.
Yeah, that's my preference as well. I've tried both of the platforms, and ChatGPT is good. All right, well, I think that's probably all we've got time for tonight, unless anyone else has any last burning questions. Actually, I've got one more here. Deep says, do you help get leads for mortgage brokers?
So yes, we help with a lot of lead gen campaigns. I think really with the Performance Max campaign I showed you, if you've got a good offer and you know who you're speaking to, it can be really lucrative, and you can plug in Google Ads straight into your CRM to automate some of that process, whether it's follow-up emails or SMS marketing. You can really make that flow quite well. So I work with a few real estate agents at the moment, no mortgage brokers, but definitely have seen the lead generation working quite well from the campaigns I just showed you.
And they're generally a pretty expensive area to work, in the sense that you've got some big companies that are happy to spend lots of money.
Yeah,
you to compete against as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the best thing about Performance Max, I know I'm harping on about it, but is that it does generate a lower cost per acquisition. I know Google released a study recently where they said that using Performance Max, I think it was about a 15 to 20% lower cost per acquisition than if you're using Google Search or Google Display on its own, using your own kind of like wisdom to it, which is a bit of a kick in the guts for us marketers who do Google Ads. But hey, this is the joys of AI.
Absolutely. And it's it's not without its I suppose learning itself as well too. So, but it has got a whole lot better over the even just the past year, I think. So yes. Excellent. So if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So I do offer free marketing consultations. You can go to my website, socialgeeks.com.au, and there's a little book a call button up the top. I'm pretty sure it says book a call. So if you click that and you find a time that suits you, always happy to have a half-hour chat just to go through your marketing goals and see how we might be able to help.
Excellent. Fantastic. All right. And we do have a prize from you tonight as well, too, don't we? A door prize.
Yeah, that's right.
What people have been waiting for.
Well, thanks everyone for sticking around. Yeah, I think the thing that I was looking to give away, I've put together, like I said before, a course on how to use ChatGPT for your small business. In that, I go through a lot of the different ways you can help create really good scripts and prompts to kind of come up with blog articles, marketing strategy, business plans. Like, it's pretty crazy what you can do with these AI tools. So you generally can complete it in about 2 hours, I reckon, if you sit down and give it a go. And that's normally worth $99. So I'm giving that away tonight just for sticking around to the end. Fantastic.
Excellent. Actually, I want to
Can I ask a quick question, Nick?
Yes, Peter.
Very quick question. I missed it, Kyle.
Yeah, no problem.
Is your website socialgeeks.com.au? Did I get that right?
Yep, that's right. I'll put it in the chat here for you.
Thank you.
That'd be great. Thanks for that, Peter.
Okay,
all right. Well, let's draw that the winner for that tonight. We have a special way of doing it with our wheel of names. So everybody's name has been entered into this, and so let's spin the wheel. Give us a virtual drum roll, please, and find out who our lucky winner is tonight. And sticking around, and it is Fred Gillen. Fred, are you still here?
I think so, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, there you go. That was worth turning up tonight. So well done.
No worries. So it was coming in late.
yes, indeed. So we'll connect you and Kyle up by email tomorrow. And if you reach out to them, that's fine too. So we'll connect you as well, and then you can work out how to get that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, Fred.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, let's give Kyle a big virtual round of applause for all that he showed tonight. Hopefully the process there of setting up the ads is a whole lot easier for you, and look forward to seeing some of you with that. And I'm sure as you go through the process and set it up, I've been through that process with that ad setup. It really is as simple as Kyle has shown. Yeah, it's worth actually going. Performance Max, yep, definitely good to go. Actually, I don't think I set mine up with Performance Max, so I think I'll give that one a crack as well too. So thanks for that little tidbit there, Kyle.
Very welcome.
All right, so if you enjoyed tonight and you want to watch it again, or the bits and pieces in there that you do want to watch again, this will be up on YouTube tomorrow afternoon as well. So you can watch the replay there. If you know someone else that's maybe struggling with ads, or if you ever hear them say that they've spent money on ads and they got less back than they spent, send them to the video, and that might just help them with a few tips on how to set something up, which is getting a far better return on investment. So yes, as I say, be up on the Smash Go YouTube channel. The link is now in chat as well. Best thing to do is, if you haven't done it already, go and subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell that you see appear by the subscribe button. Then you'll get a notification as soon as that replay has been uploaded. We will be. Oh, the other thing too is, if you haven't joined the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook group, that link is also in chat, and that's where we post announcements for these sessions. I'll pop the cool online tools and apps, so it's a really good place to find. It's all over social media anyway, but it's a good place to go and find it there as well too. We'll also be back here again next week at the same time with a new topic. I think next week. Actually, I won't tell you who it is next week, because I'll probably get it wrong. I'll get told off by Jay and Lorena here for giving the wrong information. But we'll announce that in Business Owners Smashing It Online, and online as well too. But it will be at the same time next week. Now is a great time to save the chat. If you haven't saved the chat, all those links are in there. Just open up the chat, hit those three little dots down the bottom, and you can save it. As soon as you've saved it, there's a little link that appears. It tells you where you saved it on the computer. Click on that straight away, and that'll take you to where it was saved. It means you don't have to wonder where it was, or be hunting for it. All right. Well, once again, thank you, Kyle, for coming and joining us tonight. That was a fortuitous conversation that we had, and good to have you here on tonight's session.
Thank you so much.
And thanks to everyone for joining us from wherever in the world you are. For those that might be flying home, I hope you actually catch your flight tomorrow. And for the rest of us, have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nickcree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.